The regular season is in the books at Miami. A unacceptable 7-5 certainly would be the evaluation of that starting the season, but the way things looked about midseason, maybe 7-5, not so bad. Now it's time to clean up the coaching staff, look at recruiting with National Signing Day just 2 weeks away, the early signing period, and check out the all ACC team. We do that with Cam Underwood, of course, from State of the U. Cam, how you doing tonight?
Yeah, man. Glad to be here. Ready to hang out, talk some Hurricanes. Always looking forward to this hour. So even more so than usual. So very excited to be here with you guys, and let's get it going.
If everyone noticed, I just checked over my shoulder because Cam chastised me for having the wrong helmets, the wrong color on the banner.
No, I didn't chastise. I just said, hey, these are the couple of tasks that I would like you to do, or that need to be done before we switch. Because I know, you were talking about those bumps from Trailer Hassey last hour. So just want to make sure that we're, representing the right and good brand down here. So.
And I checked because the configuration of the shot doesn't always come out the way that I anticipate. And sometimes I think I've positioned the helmets when I have not. So everyone, when I move my shoulder, let it be noted that we are in good helmet shape on the set. First and foremost, I would think that the headline news, even though it's a couple days old, would be Rhett Lashley gaining the head coaching job at SMU in place of Sonny Dykes, who moved on to TCU. Mm-hmm. And, just your evaluation of Rhett Lashley's performance at Miami and what is needed in that role going forward.
Yeah, it's funny because Sonny Dykes moves across the Metroplex, from Dallas to Fort Worth, which is not far. And then it's a stone's throw, really, to the other school in that close area. And then you got Rhett Lashley going back from whence he came, because he was there as the OC under Sonny Dykes before he came to Miami. Overall, I think that Rhett Lashley did an admirable job. If I were to give his tenure here a grade, even with room for improvement, I'm going to give it a B+. And that's really because the offense being brought into this millennia. You know what I mean? Like, it was just so outdated and antiquated, and we're just going to line up, and whatever we're trying to do, we're going to, it takes perfect execution, right? If you remember the Al Golden teams, and those teams actually put up numbers, but there was no motion, there was no real confusion. It was, we're going to line up and we're just going to do this. And then some of the things that they tried to do while doing that didn't really work. But the updated paradigm from Rhett Lashley with this offense is the biggest thing to take away. Then you get very good quarterback play each of the last 2 years, which we're going to talk about. Yeah, De'Aaron King last year, who probably played some of the best quarterback that, you'd ever seen him play and he'll ever play in his life. Because if he's going to go on to the pros like he is, he's going to play something other than quarterback. So some of the best quarterback play of his career as a quarterback happened under Rhett Lashley. We've seen the development of Tyler Van Dyke. And again, there are things that you could want to see better, right? Like inside zone from shotgun on 4th and 1 all the time. How many times do we not get that? Just relying on that, not even having a quarterback read tag, not even having an RPO bubble or any other tag on that play. In the offense, dictate or very clearly kind of tipping their pitches, if you will. Like, we're going to run this. And the defense is like, cool, so we're going to walk guys down and crash from everywhere, and we're going to stop that. And like, no, we're going to run it. And hope you don't tackle us. There were some of those things. Giving Brashard Smith, I think, 2 plays this year when he was not getting the jet sweep touch pass. Like, twice, right? Once was last game, and the other one was the game before. The one last game went for 7. 7 yards. The one the game before against Virginia Tech went for 7 points because he was loose and nobody could run with it. You know what I mean? But every other time that you put him on the field, he does the same thing. But you have this dynamic, fast weapon who, you could use in so many different ways. That's something that, you could want to see improved. The consistency in the run game, things like that. there are things that could have been better. But when you take into account what was done, how it was done, and just the fact that the offense was upgraded from what we had previously seen that was so sedentary. Overall, yeah, B+. And I don't know exactly how I phrased it, but when we hired Rhett Lashley, I said, yo, this is 2 to 3 years in the head coaching job for him. That has to be the goal, because Miami's offense was so moribund, right? Again, or with, Mark Richt is the coach. And then obviously Malik Rozier, the 1 year, and then, rotating through everybody, and then going with Jaren. Well, no, that was a man year, sorry. But yeah, it just needed new life. It just needed to be different, right? And that was the task for Rhett Lashley. And he made it different in a lot of good ways. And again, even with making it different in some good ways, there were still some performance issues that were there and you could have liked improvement on. But if he came in and did the job that he did or better, it was going to take 2 to 3 years before he got a head coaching job. Did the job that I expected or thought he could do in these 2 years. And now he's fulfilled that promise and he's going to be going back to Dallas on the north side of Highland Park, and be the coach of SMU. And, good on him. And that was always the goal, to have him honestly, if we had him for a third year, something would have went really wrong along the way. I was expected 2 and out for him. So he's right on timeline that I thought, lots of people thought, and, good on him. Congrats to him and his family. Congrats to SMU, because I think that you're getting a very good coach who can get better. So don't think I'm saying he's a perfect coach, but, he is a good coach. I think he's a really good fit for that school and that mentality and everything. And, wish him well as he goes forward.
Yeah, SMU certainly with a recent history of throwing the ball, innovative offense, and creative offense. And, of course, the most recent head coach, Sonny Dykes, moves on to TCU, who is well-founded in his offensive innovation. And the previous coach to him, Chad Morris, coming in from Clemson as an offensive-minded coach as well.
Mm-hmm.
All right. If you were conducting the search and the interviews for the next offensive coordinator, in addition to simply looking for productivity and the obvious offensive numbers that you would want to see at the previous stop, what would be your factors in your decision?
I mean, player development for one. That has to be, because, we're seeing lots of guys not be developed across the roster. So you have to be able to develop your players, especially at the position that you coach. Rhett Lashley, look, you look at the quarterbacks, everybody got better. I need that at a minimum, and you have to have whatever your mentality is, whatever your viewpoint is, it has to be crystal clear. So you can't be, okay, well, I'm going to try this, or try to be this person, or try to be this team. And okay, that didn't work. I'm going to have a wholesale change. And that didn't work. I'm going to have a wholesale change. I'm just going to really kind of go with the wind, right? It's kind of like Manny Diaz as head coach. Remember when he went 0-4 after the bye week in his first 4 games after a bye? And he said, every time, we're trying something completely new and different this bye week. Completely new and different this bye week, because what we did obviously didn't work. You can't have those massive swings, right? It has to be change within your paradigm at a minimum. But you have to have a clear thought and process on how this is going to work and what you're going to try to do. And honestly, I need somebody who's going to be a jerk. I don't need to be nice. I don't need to give away downs to the opposing defense. When I played basketball, I had a coach, and he always wanted us to have a very sound offense, right? We ran like flex on offense. We ran sets. So, we ran flex sometimes, we ran sets, but it wasn't always just, wheeling and dealing and running and gunning. But if you sat there and you dribbled and waited for the defense to come to you, know that you're going to run. Because why are we waiting for the defense? We're supposed to go score. But it's a half-court situation, coach, and I'm called a half-court play. If there's nobody there, go. And I need that same thing, because sometimes on offense with this football team, it seems like we're waiting for the defense to get set. We're waiting for them to present the biggest challenge. and then try to go through that. If they're out of position, hit it over the top, bro. You know what I mean? Let's go. And these referees, too, need to stop curtailing Miami's tempo, because that has kept us from somewhat of our talking about. Because if the center judge is standing over the ball, clearly we can't snap it, right? But if we don't sub, move. And I need to see that kind of a thing. I want to see that. And it doesn't have to be 112 plays a game. It doesn't have to be that breakneck speed. But what I don't want to see is us waiting for the defense and then trying to react to that kind of a thing. You know, I don't want to sit there and have my point guard dribbling the ball. Okay, wait, they're going to switch in the post and the point guard's going to come back. Now I can run Ohio too. And then, now I can run Michigan or UCLA or whatever motion offense, because now everybody's where they're supposed to be. If they're not where they're supposed to be, that's their damn business. And if they're not where they're supposed to be, we're going to go score. And that mentality or that central focus, it needs to be there. And it needs to be fun, because I think that fun, well, honestly, if we score points, it's going to be fun. And it could be throwing the ball all over the park, and you're going to want to throw the ball a lot, because we're going to talk about Tyler Van Dyke in a little bit. That's a guy you want to have throw the ball. Like, trust me. And also, if you have the ability to run the ball, those are body blows. You know what I mean? And Jalen Knighton, you know, if you get some body blows with Cody Brown and Thad Franklin, and even you've seen Jalen Knighton at the beginning of the game against Pittsburgh, what happened? Up the middle, gone. They still haven't touched him. 40 yards, boom. You can hit those. But whatever it is, it needs to be it needs to be clear, and it needs to work. That's for me. And if it fits with the overall paradigm, and again, success can look a lot of different ways. You know, you can have run heavy spread, you can have pass heavy spread, whatever. It can look a lot of different ways. So I'm not tied into one specific paradigm, but I need somebody who's clear in that and knows what they're doing and can elevate this talent to levels of success like we've seen.
Obviously, the more complex you get on offense, or more sophisticated might be the better word, then the more pressure you put on the defense. Now you have to make sure that your players and your unit is capable of pulling it off, of executing. But once you get to that level of confidence that you believe you can, there are so many different factors that weigh into the advantage of running a tempo offense. Number one, you wear out the defense physically, both in the moment on that series, but also the long-term effects throughout the game. Number two, the more offensive plays that you run, the more opportunities to gain yardage and score. Number three, just not giving that time, as you just succinctly put, to give the opposing coaching staff and the players on the field, the smarter players especially, time to process what you're doing. You give them less seconds to determine, okay, he's there, okay, I got a feel for what they're doing. And there's just a lot of obvious, and then you also just have that, as you've pointed out many times, you instill in your unit the mindset that we attack. We're on the attack. We're not trying to kill every little second and wait to snap the ball because we want to drag out this drive. And no, we're on the attack. We're on the move.
Yeah,
a lot of advantages there.
And that's what it should be always, you know. And I mean, look, is there 4-minute offense?
Sure.
Yeah, we're going to run the ball and like that, but like that whole 3 yards in the cloud of dust, and we're going to have, you know, a Navy type game that's going to be 4 quarters in an hour and 43 minutes. I don't necessarily need that. You know what I mean? And we're not built for that. And Navy does that because they have constraints of roster construction. You know, but yeah, we need to at least have that mentality of attack. And also, you know, pragmatism, because like we're not going to go, you know, if we get sacked on first down and run for 2 yards on third down or second down, we're not necessarily going to go tempo, all 3 of those. But, and I mean, it just fits with football. Get that first down of a drive and let's work.
I don't necessarily want to be watching this particular game, but somebody pointed out to me, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it. I believe it was Air Force. Let me see if I can find the box score. They actually had a game this season. There it is. I found it. Air Force played UNLV last Saturday. They did not throw a pass. I
Yeah,
think that's
yeah.
so funny.
I saw Palm Beach Gardens my first full year when I taught at Deerfield in the state championship game. Palm Beach Gardens with Matt Elam at running back and safety, or he kind of played that outside linebacker, safety in the box position. They ran the ball every single play of the game, save one play action 74-yard touchdown over the top. But literally every other, they didn't call a pass play. There was no scrambles. They called one pass and they ran the ball however many times. You can look up the box score on the Sun Sentinel or wherever, and they ended up, winning a state championship that way. But yeah, that's like a high school kind of a thing where you'll see something like that. But yeah, that did happen at the college level as well.
And Air Force is a good team. They're 9-3, finished the season in a good conference, Mountain West Conference. They'll go to a decent bowl game. 69 rushes, 511 yards, 7.4 yards per carry, no passes, and win the game 48-14. That's just, I love statistical oddities. So,
that is one of them.
Falconer X, thank you so much for the super sticker. Appreciate that so much. And now let's get into the all ACC team, as was announced here in the last day for 2021. And I know, Cam, of course, you've taken exception to past selections. So let's run it down. I don't see anybody on the first team offense for Miami. First team defense.
None either.
I do not see anyone for Miami. On the second team offense, we have Charleston Rambo at wide receiver. And he would be the representative along with DJ Scaife at guard on the second team offense. Second team defense, we have.
Then there's somebody? No defense.
No one. And then on special teams, Lou Headley on the second team. I would like to see the first team punter. I'll have to go back and check that out. And then on the third team offense, nobody. Third team defense, nobody. And so then we've got a number of honorable mentions. So
yeah,
before you start, I'm just trying to do the math here. So we've got 3 units of offense and defense per side. That's 3 times 11, 33, 66 players, if I'm looking at that correctly. 2 from a 7-5 Miami team seems to be a bit scarce.
I mean, 3 including the punter. Well, yeah, that's not offense or defense. It's but that's also emblematic of like this season, right? So, are you going to give Mike Harley the Career Achievement Award for being the all-time leading receiver at Miami and put him on one of those teams? I mean, like, he's a decent player, and he was valuable to our offense, but I don't see where he gets over any of those players. Now, my one point of contention is Charleston Rambo for first team, because he was 5 points away. Dontavian Wicks and A.T. Perry were tied at 131 points. Jordan Addison and Josh Downs were far and away the number 1 and 2 vote getters. But those other players come from teams that won more than 7 games. And I think that's really the line of demarcation. But if you put them individually, give me Rambo, honestly. I tweeted it last week that there is a discussion to be had for Tyler Van Dyke for first team All ACC. Now, I knew he was not going to get it, but it is not unreasonable to say that there is a logical foundation based upon what we saw for first team All ACC. There's an argument to be made, even if you disagree. And again, I'm not saying that it was a shoo-in, 100% unanimous, when Sunshine was at Clemson kind of a situation. Stop. I didn't say that. But we can talk about it. But, also that player, if you have that conversation, is throwing to someone. But then again, Charleston Rambo was clearly the number 1 vote getter on the second team. But if there was anybody to be first team All ACC, it would be Charleston Rambo in my eyes. DJ Scaife, honestly, started a little rough, but then he did play well through the season. There were some penalty issues early that cleared up for him personally. So we see that. Lou Headley, he did a fine job when we punted, and the NC State punter was first team All ACC. And that's fine. He's, Headley is who he is, and he's really good. So first, second team, I'm fine with that for him. The honorable mentions, I think there were like 5 or 6. That email was sent out. 8 Hurricanes, it says here. Let me see. Jalen Knighton, Zion Nelson, Tyreek Stevenson, James Williams, and Andy Borregales. All honorable mention. Okay. James Williams was 3rd in the voting for Defensive Rookie of the Year in the conference. That's great. Borregales, I think if he makes that kick against Virginia, might have made one of the all-conference teams. I think that one kick really put him to the honorable mention as opposed to one of the teams kind of things. And Zion Nelson, people were talking about him as a first-round draft pick coming into the year. I didn't see that from him, but, overall decent. He, enough that, and he has a name too, because everybody knows this 2-star who was committed to App State. So, there's that. And then Jalen Knighton, he had the suspension that he had to come back from. But after that, played pretty well. I think there were some games where the overall run game wasn't too great, but, he was the lead guy pretty early on in the season. So for the second, 2/3 of the season, he was pretty much the number one guy. So, all those fit. The other thing I will say, and this is really informed by the previous thing that I said, I think that it's crazy and I get it because of the next point of conversation. I think that it's crazy that Tyler Van Dyke was not even honorable mention all ACC. Again, I think that there was if you look at it a certain way, now you have to discount the fact that he didn't start the first part of the year. That's the point of conversation. We're looking at when he played and how he played, when he played things. But I'm saying you can have a conversation for being first team all ACC. You didn't even make honorable mention. That's kind of crazy to me. With guys getting 18 and 19 points of voting that were honorable mention guys, and that was not even Tyler Van Dyke, based upon what we saw. And I know that the team is bad, and lost 5 games, but Carolina beat us, but they were only 8-4. They were a game better.
No, they weren't.
Oh, they weren't? They went 7-5.
Carolina finished 6-6.
Right? So I'm even wrong. I was assuming.
Let me double check myself. I'm stating that off memory of remembering everybody's records. Mm-hmm. I'm almost positive they were 6-5 entering the NC State game. Then they lost to NC State to finish 6-6.
Let me click. You are correct, sir.
Okay.
And their quarterback is honorable mention all ACC. Same thing with Virginia's quarterback. He's 3rd team all ACC. But and I know that Brennan Armstrong started super well and everything, but again, it's just kind of crazy to me, right? But overall, you did get some guys who earned recognitions. I don't necessarily think that anybody really missed out on being recognized on the all ACC teams through this year. Maybe an honorable mention for a Leonard Taylor, who when he came in was consistently the highest graded player. Tackles for loss, wreaking havoc, disrupting plays. That would be maybe the one that I would say to add. But congratulations to everybody. But the real omission here for me is Tyler Van Dyke. And I get why. And after this question, you're going to, it'll make sense.
One comment from me on the quarterback vote, and then also the just the overall approach to this is, to Cam's point, Tyler Van Dyke started how many games?
Let me see. Came in 4, so 8.
So he played 8 games. So he played 2/3 of the season.
But he played in game 4. Did he start? So he might have started 9 because he did not play the first 3, but he played the other 9.
Okay, so he played either 2/3 or 75% of the season. Okay, so if you prorate his numbers, so you, number one, in a sense, need to prorate his numbers. Obviously, he did not compile those numbers, but it has to be taken into context that he accomplished what he did: 25 touchdown passes, 6 interceptions, 2,800 yards passing within a limited number of games, number one. Number two, you also have to take into consideration, if people are thinking while they're doing this, and I sometimes question that he generally faced not across the board, but generally faced better competition because he faced the conference schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Generally. Didn't face Alabama, of course, in game one, but faced the conference schedule versus everybody else playing the 3 to 4 cupcakes generally in non-conference play. The other thing you got to say about the ACC is, and I'm critical of the ACC, I think it's been down for about 3 to 4 years. I do not think it's a good conference right now, but the quarterback play is pretty stout.
Yeah,
If you would compare those
right.
top 4, like if you consider Van Dyke, put him in the top 5 with the 3 that made the first, second, and third team, and then Sam Howell. Sam Howell was a Heisman Trophy front runner to start this season, and he made the honorable mention behind Pickett, Hartman, and Armstrong, who all put up prolific numbers, like ridiculous numbers. Even the NC State quarterback's good. Devin Leary, he's got like a 25 to 5 kind of TD to pick ratio. 35-5. Okay. And he's not even on there.
Right. I mean, no,
So
there's strong quarterback play.
That's 6 deep, and then you throw in Malik Cunningham. He's a good player.
Yeah. And I mean, I put it in, there's a tweet from David Hale, ESPN, that I put after the game, but I also put in the Tyler Van Dyke ACC rookie and offensive rookie of the year piece that I put together today. So basically, Van Dyke did not play the first 3 games. He came in, played against or started against Central Connecticut State, split that game with Jake Garcia. Garcia broke his ankle in that game. Tyler Van Dyke plays every other snap, basically. 2,931 yards and 25 touchdowns. If he were in the Big Ten, Tyler Van Dyke would be second in touchdowns and 4th in yards. If he were in the Big 12, he would be number 1 in touchdowns and 2nd in yards by 58 yards total. If he were in the Pac-12, he would lead the conference in both of those statistics. And that speaks to Mark's point too, of he did that, and if he were in these other places and other conferences, that would be his statistical standing. And he did that in 3/4 of the season, and he's in the conversation of the top 5, 4 or 5-ish, in the ACC and everything. But no, strong season from him. But again, if there is one snub to be discussed, that's really the one.
And I will certainly edit and retract anything that I say that I, on second thought, think's a bit questionable. So I do stand by my statement that, generally speaking, if a quarterback in Power 5 play plays against the Power 5 and does not play against the non-conference schedule, he is generally playing better competition. In this case, having missed Alabama and Michigan State, I can understand that's his numbers are probably pretty reflective of the productivity there. But again, did I get this right? He would have led the Pac-12 and the Big Ten in touchdown passes? Or was it the Big 12? Regardless.
Big 12 and Pac-12, he would have been 2nd in touchdowns in the Big 10.
Well, yeah, Stroud threw a million.
Yeah,
but
and the ACC, I pulled it up, in terms of touchdowns, his 25 are 5th behind Brendan Armstrong, Sam Hartman, Devin Leary, and Kenny Pickett.
Wow.
But yeah, again, that just goes to your point that there was definitely some strong quarterback play in conference this year.
All right.
But, so I'm gonna answer this question, or ask me the question, and then we're gonna talk about why
we've changed our fonts here, and I've got my glasses on another table. My goodness.
If you want to go get them,
first one, and I'll catch up with you on the second one.
All right, cool. Carol City Kane 305. Appreciate the super chat. Obviously, if Mario loses his Friday against Utah again, and that's a Utah team that blew their doors off a couple weeks ago, does it change your perspective? And how long will Canes fans be patient with him? It does not change my perspective. One game, it's overall. Definitely has done a very good job at Oregon. Definitely raised the floor for them. Recruiting California has been really strong for him. He's made them the destination team of the West Coast at the moment. Now, I do understand that Lincoln Riley going to USC is going to change the balance of power out there. So I'm not going to say it's going to 100% just be Oregon and the Pips like it is right now in the Pac-12. But no, I mean, he, Oregon was not ready for that game. Now they went into the shoe. They beat O State this year. They have played up to big moments, but when they went into Salt Lake City, they were not ready at all. Offense, defense, special teams. You got Utah taking a timeout before the half because you got to punt it to my guy, and then he runs it back untouched. You know what I mean? And that was a thing where if you're a more conservative coach, yeah, you maybe let that ride. Utah said, nah, kick it to me. I dare you, because you're going to have to now. Kick me the ball and see what happens. And we saw what happened, right? But now I want to see a Mario Cristobal team punch back because you have it all to play for, right? So this should be the time that you do that. But if it's another blowout loss, that gives me pause. That's like, whoa, hey, let's think about it, talk about it. But no, it's not going to change my perception and think that he's not a candidate for the Miami job. You know what I mean? That this job is too big for him. He's been places, he made FIU reasonable. He went to the Nick Saban school for wayward coaches for a little bit. You see what he's doing in Oregon. This is a guy who has a winning track record, and he's proven that stepping up to a major brand team like Oregon and elevating them to be or continue to have them at the top of where they are, that speaks volumes, because that's way more than Manny, because Manny was a coach for 13 days, hadn't even led a practice at Temple before he came back. So that's still an upgrade. And to me, it still has to be, unless something comes way off, oh my God, that just broke. But unless something comes way out of left field, it has to be Cristobal or Lane Kiffin for me. That's not going to change. I would prefer Lane Kiffin, but I'll take Cristobal. It's fine. So, that's my read on it. Go ahead.
Falconer X, love you. The powers that be, especially the bald ones.
Wow.
I don't know if he's taken it anyway.
I feel attacked.
Hate the U. Miami feeds on the hate and we'll be back. And I know Falconer X loves you, Cam. I think he wasn't necessarily thinking that one through.
No, he's talking about, people on the board of trustees and outside of the program, but I just had to have a little jab, a joke, un chiste, un broma for you. The reason why, getting back to the previous conversation, it is not crazy or that it is acceptable, palatable, that Tyler Van Dyke was not on any of the All-ACC teams is, and I kind of stole my own thunder, Tyler Van Dyke was named the ACC overall and Offensive Rookie of the Year today. So it makes sense then to say, hey, look, you got both of those rookie awards. Can't win the defensive one because you don't play defense, right? But the overall Rookie of the Year, the Offensive Rookie of the Year, both of those are going to you. So they can be a little okay by not having him on all ACC teams, because if we're talking about rookie players, it's you, so that's why I understand. You know what I mean? It's just like, hey, we're going to vote for these other guys. We already know that Van Dyke, because he's the only rookie of this group, he's going to be the Offensive Rookie and overall Rookie of the Year. So let's give the All-ACC team and honorable mention nods to these other guys. So it's a little bit of participation trophy-ish, where he's not the overall ACC Player of the Year. And since he's not, then we're going to leave him and have those two and then kind of have it as their own things, as it were.
I also think it's just a numbers game. I think, I stated, that the quarterback spot in the ACC is just stacked.
No, yeah.
When you've got a quarterback at NC State that threw 35 touchdowns and 5 picks, and his team's 9-3, and they'll go to a nice little bowl game, and they're in the top 25 of the nation, not make the top 3 or 4. Fair.
No, like I said, it makes sense on that point as well. But definitely, really, great for Tyler. Obviously valuing what he did and how he did it this year, and it points to the potential future for this team and this program, because when you have someone of that caliber, hopefully you can build from where we are to where we want to be with that kind of signal caller, because, hopefully he's able to continue to play to that level and then elevate not only his play, but the play of others around him, which we've seen, some in the later part of the year. defense needs to get a little bit better, but hey, that's not his fault. But, obviously, huge congratulations to Tyler Van Dyke. And he is the third Miami Hurricane ever to win both overall Rookie of the Year and Offensive Rookie of the Year in the ACC in the same season. And before I tell you the other two, do you have a guess as to who those other two are, Mr. Rogers?
And so you said the offensive and the overall.
That is correct.
ACC Rookie of the Year. Mm-hmm. So Miami's first year in the ACC, I believe, was 2004.
Mm-hmm.
Rookie of the Year, ACC. I'm going to say Duke Johnson.
Okay.
And Travis Homer.
Ooh, 1 for 2. Duke Johnson's correct.
Oh, Amon Richards.
No. Good. That's a real good guess, but no. Do you want a hint?
Sure.
He threw the ball to Amon Richards.
Oh, Brad Kaya.
Yeah, so Duke Johnson and Brad Kaya, 2012 and 14, respectively, were the other two Hurricanes to have won both the offensive and overall Rookies of the Year in the same season. So, but yeah.
Homer did have 1,000 yards as a freshman, didn't he?
Travis Homer? No. He was a rotation guy. He was behind DJ Dallas and
okay. I was gonna actually guess DJ Dallas.
But I'm trying to see about Amon Richards' awards because I don't remember. He was a freshman All-American. He was second team All-ACC his freshman year.
For some reason, I believe that I do remember that Amon Richards caught 49 passes as a freshman. Is that correct?
I believe so. For a record 943 yards. Yeah, 49 receptions. Yep. 934 yards.
34. That's almost 20 per catch.
Yep.
Next up on the Super Chat, iPhone Kane. Appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for the contribution there. Cam, have you noticed that Manny has no play call sheet, and it's like all the position coaches are on the field and nobody in the press box?
Yes. I mean, they're all down there. I mean, you got other guys up in the press box. I think, and the rumors and chatter were that that's a little bit of where that headset penalty came from, because you're only supposed to have on-field assistants with like headsets for booth communication. But if all the assistants are on the field, but you're communicating to the booth, then they're, like it's, like to call plays down and things like that. So yeah, I think that like if you put those two things together, I think that like that kind of informs that or whatever. But yeah, no, I mean, he, if you know it, you know it. Like there were times when I was a choir director and we had 22 pages of music on a song, and I didn't have the music in front of me. I knew what I was doing. I knew I'm listening and I'm reacting dynamically in that moment. So, because I could handle that. I think maybe Manny could use a visual tool to help improve his performance, because after we saw the heights of that defense, we have not seen anything like that. So I know that he can do that when he has the talent. So we're talking about both recruiting, well, not both, but we're talking about recruiting and development and usage, right? But maybe having something to help guide just his brain, like, oh, hey, I need to remember, and to do this. Maybe that would be helpful. Maybe. But yeah, no, most everybody's been on the field, and I'm fine with that. In a vacuum, but like, yeah, if it's not necessarily going the right way, then maybe we could look at changing that. Who knows?
Next up, we've got Scott. Scott, we appreciate you being here, and thank you so much for the contribution. Good evening to the best duo in the country.
Let's turn up.
What are your thoughts on Ken Dorsey as a possible candidate for head coach, Cam? Sorry, late to the show. Well,
No.
Scott, just to let you know, we would have never known that. So, but we forgive you.
My answer to that is no. I don't want a first-time head coach. We've been there. We tried that. Not even a first time at this level, like first time overall. You know, Ken Dorsey was an associate athletic director, which is a largely ceremonial title when he was at FIU, you know, for one part of a year. And he's done a great job as a quarterback coach in the league. Look at what he did with Cam Newton when he was in Carolina. Look at what he is doing with Big Country, Josh Allen, the quarterback in Buffalo. Like, yeah, hey, man, the work that he's done in that arena is beyond reproach because he was the quarterback. I think wasn't he the quarterback coach when Cam Newton won MVP that year? I think he
2015, I believe so.
So he was a quarterback coach of an MVP, and then you've seen the growth in Josh Allen. You know what I mean? Like, Ken Dorsey is a guy, and he knows the playbook. He knows the game of football. He obviously knows how to get quarterbacks to not only maintain but elevate their performance level at the highest level of the sport. But he's never been a head coach before, and I don't need that. Even if it would have been 1 year somewhere, you know, like, yeah, but no, I'm not here for that. And with all due respect, I think that he's maybe too big of a name for like offensive coordinator because of the work that he's doing in the NFL. I think that an NFL offensive coordinator job is more along his career path than stepping down to the college level, unless he wants to. And I know that there's many people who've done it. Brian Daboll, he stepped down. He went to Alabama, got yelled at by Nick Saban real bad, won a championship, said, cool, I'm gone. And where is he? Buffalo as the offensive coordinator, who's Ken Dorsey's boss, you know, as a position coach. So, like, I think that path, from quarterback coach to offensive coordinator at the pro level is more likely than anything else. And like I said, for me at Miami right now, I'm not rolling the dice on a first-time head coach. And with all due respect, we're not going to find a Jimmy Johnson who's 25, 23-3, you know, at Oklahoma State coming in here and then all of a sudden turns into the Jimmy Johnson Hall of Famer that we all know and love, right? He was not that when we hired him. We've tried to go that route and find the diamond in the rough a couple of times. I don't need the diamond in the rough. Give me the big shiny one from the like window that you walk by. You know, you walk by Cartier or Tiffany's, you go, damn, that one. That's the one I want. And I love Ken Dorsey. But for head coach, right now, today, Scott, my answer is going to have to be no. Sorry.
Ken Dorsey was the quarterbacks coach at Carolina in 2015. He's been there from 13 through 17.
And again, that's when Cam took his game to higher levels and won an MVP under the direct tutelage of Ken Dorsey. So again, I'm not saying that anything to impugn his ability to coach the quarterback position, but to run a program and to run Miami holistically, not right now.
Fans, of course, want to see their favorite players come back and take part with the team as a coach, administrator, and so forth. How much value do you put in that?
Not as much as I used to. And it's not even from a Miami perspective. It's from a Michigan perspective. Because, you know, you want to get, you know, Michigan men and everything, and you go and get a Brady Hoke who was 11-1 at San Diego State. And you know what I mean? And it's like, well, we're going to really focus on Michigan man. And my uncle, Michael Bill, went to Michigan. So trust and believe, my entire life, I've heard about being a Michigan man. And every time we go over to Ann Arbor, it's just like a different kind of a thing, right? But sometimes you can be of that ilk and not able to do that job. Right? And if all things being equal, well, it's not even that. It's not even all things being equal. It's things being unequal, but at the person who's not at the top of the chart, we're going to take that Miami man or, you know, the Miami guy or Michigan man, and we're going to use that to bump them up. Right? And that's what really we're talking about, is prioritizing those people who have a prior connection to the school. I don't care. Like, and I did for a long time. You know, wanted, you know, Michigan man and everything. You know, we want that. And then you can even, and for those who are watching or listening for the first time, I'm from Michigan. I grew up in Detroit. I grew up as a Michigan fan. That's why I say that from there. The helmet's right next to Mark's, head. Exactly. Let's go blue. Big win this week! Woo! Sorry. Anyway, in terms of Miami, you can look at it there, right? Randy Shannon, from Miami, played at Miami, won at Miami, coached at Miami, got promoted at Miami, tanked. Mark Richt, I know he was on the downswing of his career. Same thing. There's been a focus on that. Manny Diaz, for all intents and purposes, was a Miami guy because he was the defensive coordinator. And then 13 days after getting a job, he came back. And using that as a foundational part of the process, to me, is definitely proven. And I've given you 2 different schools that I've rooted for and followed. That part of the process being the focus is overrated for me. But if we get now, I think that Mario Cristobal can be the right fit, regardless of his prior connection to Miami. But also, because I think he's the best candidate out there for this job. It is bolstered because he went to Miami. He played at Miami, won 2 championships in Miami. But we're not, again, taking a guy who would be further down the list and saying, oh, he played at Miami, let's bump him up. But again, maybe we are, because I would like Lane Kiffin. Thank you.
Well, I do understand, in addition to fans, they want to hold on to the past, and I get it. I'm a fan as well. You want to hold on to the past and say, hey, that's my guy. That's the guy I was watching 20 years ago, and now he's still around, and it's all cool, but then there's work to be done. And so, but I also understand on a more reasonable level that you could make the argument that those individuals that have a tie to that university, whether as a coach, player, or alum, or all the above, have a greater investment. They have a passion. There's a connection there. There's a pride there that is going to make them work harder, maybe in some way, or they just understand the culture better because they've lived it and helped to build it.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, to your point, there are umpteen examples at every university that's successful in the football program of coaches who come from all over the place that are doing just fine and successful when they have no tie to that university. These people want to be successful. They're building careers that they take a lot of pride in, so they want to be successful regardless.
No, exactly. And again, even like in the case of Manny Diaz, he means well. He wants to win. He wants this to go the right way, right? It clearly and unequivocally has not in these 3 years. And, we have the ability to make upgrades and changes. And I think that, moving on from Manny Diaz as a head coach is one of them. And I think that he could be, I don't know that he's going to be a national championship coach in his future, but like he can go to a group of 5 team and really iron out some of the things that he needs to develop, and then get back to a Power 5 job and probably do well. I think that is possible in his career path, but right now at Miami, no.
We've all had moments in our career where we felt unsure of ourselves or unsure of whether we could handle that situation or that assignment, that communication to a room or whatever it may be. It must be a horrible feeling to have that type of feeling every day you go to work. And I'm not saying Manny Diaz does, but to think maybe this is a little too much for me.
Yeah. I mean, it just, again, despite his best efforts and intents, it's not going that way. And, it has to be frustrating because you're trying to find all the, find some right answers, and the answers always come up, well, more often than not, have been coming up wrong, and the proof is in the pudding that, like, yeah, I think this is just a little bit too big of a job for him at this point of his career. And again, I think he can go to, I believe that Manny Diaz will be relieved of duties, right? I think that he can land this year or next year at a group of 5 team, be there for a couple few years, really learn the process, implement or, fix some of the things, move forward, win a bunch of games, and we're talking 5-6 years down the line about Manny Diaz back to a major job, like a major name brand Power 5 job. I wouldn't say like top job, but like a team with a name. I don't think that that's outside the realm of possibilities, but yeah, I think that that's going to take some time. I think it's going to take some growth and development for him to be able to get there.
Your order of priority or preference is Lane 1, Mario 2, or the other way around?
Lane 1, Mario 2 for me. Been that way since 2015. Let's be jerks. I wrote it on the website, said it. But hey, man, if they hate them, let them hate and watch the money pile up. Like, hey, I'm good with it, and I think, Lane wants to be here and everything. And Lane wouldn't be here forever, and that's okay. Miami's always been a 5 years and out job when Miami's good. Look at pretty much every coach, even if you take into account Butch Davis, who went through the doldrums of the NCAA sanction period to rebuild Miami, even he was 5 or 6 years and then a pro job, or you know what I mean? Like, this is that kind of a thing. And if Lane comes here and can win, he's not going to be here forever, and that's okay, But my preference is Lane.
And it might be one of the reasons why Miami was so good and so dominant, because they had NFL type coaches just one step away from taking that NFL job when they were the head coach at Miami.
When was the last time that a Miami assistant, pre-Lashley, who clearly when we got him, that was a coup, right? That was like hey, this is one of the rising stars in the sport. He's making his own name. He's already been at Auburn. He's been at SMU. This is a guy who's going to be a head coach, right? Lashley, when was the last time that an assistant got hired away from Miami as a head coach? I don't remember, honestly, and I don't think it's been really any time recently. It's always been, well, coaches get fired, and then, we have these guys, it's been middling at best, but you haven't had anybody who's like, oh, we're going to go. Miami has this guy at this position to coach. Okay, Manny Diaz, right? You're probably thinking you overlooked the current head coach, right? Yeah, but okay, fine. Manny Diaz. Before him, who? And we're seeing right now that Manny Diaz being hired away as a head coach somewhere was probably okay. Being hired away basically from being defensive coordinator and promoted to be the head coach here. A bridge too far. You know what I mean? But when was the last time that we had that? Like a Chudzinski, he went to the NFL as offense coordinator and then got, Schiano. You know what I mean? And I mean, he has his faults, but like he had Rutgers ranked number 2 in America. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. But I think that hopefully if Miami, as reported, is actually going to open up the purse strings and build an appropriate staff and pay to really get the level of coaches across the board that Miami should have, we could see that happen more often.
Falconer X back at it. Appreciate that. Cam for Miami team vocal coach for players' future careers in music and broadcasting.
I'm with it. I've done all of it. I've done the vocal coaching. I've done the diction and pronunciation. I've done the foreign languages. I've done the posture presentation. I've done all that. So, hey, if you need to get to me, you can contact me through Falconer X or myself directly, whichever way you want to go about that. Miami Athletics, I know that you're watching, I know that you're listening. And I know that you got my address and phone number because the development office stays sending me stuff, emailing me stuff, and calling and texting my phone looking for money. So I know you know where I be at, right?
Well, we don't know exactly who's watching, but we know more people are watching each and every week. So thank you for that, everyone. Spread the word. Continue to spread the word. I've got one last. You can make this as long or little as you would like, but we are 2 weeks away from National Signing Day, the early signing day.
Lord Jesus. Hoy. Wow.
What needs to get done between now and then?
Nothing. Making sure that, well, no, the one thing is making sure that you don't have everybody jump out of the boat. That's it. Sign who you can and move forward from there. And again, take your time with the process this year, because the bump for a new coach is not current cycle that's about to finish. It's first full cycle, so 2023. So this time next year, with whomever the new coach is, that cycle is where you will see a bump, right? But right now, in December of 2021, that is not when you're going to see a huge change, right? With like the singular exception of Lincoln Riley going from Oklahoma to USC and having recruited a ton of top players from Southern California and being like, hey, man, come over to University of South Central. You don't got to go to Norman, Oklahoma. All right, cool. I got you, coach. You know what I mean? Where you already have that built in where they will follow you or something like that. Cool. But like none of the candidates have anybody built in like that. So yeah, it's really just making sure that everybody does not jump out of the boat, hold par, hold serve. And it's really going to be a Michigan State-like transfer class. This is really going to be a huge transfer portal class. And like the transfer portal gets deeper and deeper every day. Chris Bogle, who Miami recruited and went to Florida, he just got into the portal. Zach Evans, a 5-star running back from 2 cycles ago. TCU, he's in the portal now. Theo Weiss from Oklahoma in the portal. Another one, I think Mims, another wide receiver from Oklahoma. And hey, if you're Theo Weiss specifically, because I think that he has a higher ceiling than the other kid, all you need to do is call your boy Charleston Rambo, who shared the wide receiver room with you last year, and ask him about his time and experience in Miami and this monster ACC rookie and offensive rookie of the year quarterback who had him run up numbers where Charleston Rambo, and I didn't even mention this, so Mike Harley is the all-time career leading receiver in terms of number in a single game and a career at Miami. He had 13 catches in the last game, which is a Miami record, and surpassed Reggie Wayne as the number 1 in terms of all-time catches at Miami. That's 1, right? Charleston Rambo has the most catches and yards in a single season. Well, no, catches, and is approaching yards, or he might have gotten it, yards in a single season in Miami Hurricanes history. So he came here for 1 year and it's at the top of the record books. Bro, 5-star Theo Weiss. Fam, I'm leaving because Charleston Rambo's not coming back. I know people ask me, go get that money. Even if it's second, third round money, go to the league, start to run up a check, do that. But he's leaving. That means we got a gap, right? And I know you're looking at, but what about Romello Princeton and K5? And yeah. They're going to be there too, and they're going to be great. But why don't you come on down, bro? You know what I mean? Like, you can make that happen. And it's really going to be on the transfers, I think, that's really going to make this class this year. Because you're not going to get, if you get double digits, if you get a dozen or a baker's dozen, which is 13 for those who don't know. If you get that many high school recruits this year at Miami, I think that you're in a really good spot and fill the rest out with transfers. But to get there, I think, you gotta hold serve through early signing, and then, hope and pray. I think that the Anthony Lucas train has left the station. The 5-star defensive lineman of Haitian descent, whose parents went to Miami, who now lives in Arizona. You got there's the offensive lineman from Washington State, Malik Agbo. I don't know how realistic that is, but if Miami changes coaches, he can take another official visit. So, hey, you're going after Shamar Stewart still. You're going after Nigel Kelly still. All-American. All of these names I'm throwing out to you are All-Americans, right? You hold on to the 8 that you got, get 7 of them to sign early. You get 1, maybe 2 of those names that I mentioned right there. That puts you close to 10. Maybe you squeeze out another 1 or 2, who are quality, and then you get the rest as transfers. I think that that's maybe a positive way to go about it. But yeah, basically, again, the long story short is don't burn the house down in terms of recruiting before the early signing period. As long as you don't burn the house down, I think that we can be okay.
There's Falconer X again. Our man, it's easy. All Miami needs to do is hire an AD, new head coach, save the recruiting class, and keep the current players. Piece of cake.
Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Yeah, nice and simple, right? So, yeah, but the players, players are going to leave. It happens everywhere. Especially if you're going to have a new coach. And there have already been players who have left. D. Wiggins and Mark Pope and Gervin Hall and there's more. We know, but they're going to be players who leave, and that opens up room for more scholarships and more transfers, and hopefully we take advantage of that. But it seems like a categorical list. Hopefully we'll see sometime soonish an AD hired. And, David Lake said it on Inside the U, who's been, dropping insider notes and things like that. And, Barry Jackson from Miami Herald hinted at this as well. But you really want there to be, this process needs to be handled in an appropriate way. And I think that the silence is golden in some of these instances, because Cristobal could be extended at Oregon, and that has not been announced or said. Lane Kiffin could get extended at Ole Miss. That has not been announced or said. It has not been said that Manny Diaz is returning. You know what I mean? And I know that there have been some leaks from some people about the process and the names and but I think that there's enough silence so there are real G's moving around like lasagna. You know what I mean? That we're doing what needs to be done. And, Les Miles, back when he was at LSU, was going to leave LSU to go back and rebuild Michigan, where he played. And 2 national journalists let the cat out of the bag early. And then he was asked about it. And then that was I have a damn fine team and a damn strong, that press conference, right? Because you got amateur hour. Like, if we've worked it out, STFU, let him go through the SEC championship game or whatever it is, and then, like a Lincoln Riley, come out, announce it. That's how you make power moves. You don't talk about the power moves, you make the power moves. But whomever associated with Michigan had loose lips, and then it got out, and now Les is saying, okay, well, nah, I'm not going to do that. Because I told you the one thing was, shut up about it, right? And then you didn't do it that way. You didn't handle it the appropriate way. And think about that with Mario Cristobal, right? If we're coming out saying, if not we, but if the program is coming out and really pushing for, and if you fire Manny Diaz early and then you push for Mario Cristobal and say these things, we're looking at, alums, that puts him in a bad situation because he has the Pac-12 championship game to go through. But if you're handling it like this is appropriate. Hey, we're going to do the back channel thing because it always happens. I can communicate with the reps. I know that he's hearing it and everything. But we're going to handle it this way. We're not going to make a scene. We're not going to say anything up front. And when you're done with that championship game, now we're going to get to work. Now we're going to bring you home. Boom. That's how you handle things. And I think that I hope that the lack of direct commentary means that we're handling things at Miami in that kind of a way. But, I was going to make an analogy that would have made me personally upset. So I'm not going to say that one. But regardless of the interior process, I needed to get done. And it meaning hiring an athletic director with quality, firing Manny Diaz, and hiring a quality head coach, being Lane Kiffin or Mario Cristobal. However you go about the means towards that is whatever. I care about the ends, the results. That's what I'm looking for.
With that, we leave you for another week, everyone. Be back here next Wednesday at 7 o'clock Eastern Time, Miami Hurricanes Live, in which we will know the bowl destination for the Canes.
Yes.
Anything else that we need to know going on there at State of the U?
I mean, lots of commentary, obviously. We're talking about, this being the most important week ever. I believe John Michaels wrote that one. Justin DeTavio has something queued up for tomorrow morning that you're probably going to want to see. We still have film previews and, retrospectives and all kinds of things like that. So, we're still in the lab there at State of the U. So Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at the State of the U. The website is stateoftheu.com, which is always open 24/7, 365. And my Twitter account is at Underwood Sports. You can come on over in any and all of those places and fan with us. And we'll talk to you soon.
I will actually be back online here in about 15 or 20 minutes talking about the aforementioned Mario Cristobal and his Oregon Ducks. They're on the Oregon channel, so join us live there. Cam, appreciate it, man, as always.
See you guys.